Natalie Bennett, former Israeli Defense Minister, thank you for joining us here on RT International today. I'd like to ask you for your response to Iran blaming Israel for killing Fakhrizadeh.
Well, as a former defense minister of Israel, I would have no idea specifically on this particular event. What I can say is this guy was not a benign nuclear scientist. His focus and expertise was the weaponization. That's what he did. That's his business of connecting the nuclear part to the weapon. And this is a very, very dangerous thing. Not only that, we know that whenever the IAEA inspectors wanted to meet him, Iran again and again declined to allow him to meet these inspectors. So if he was just some benign scientist, that should have been no problem. We have an evil empire that's been hijacked, right? The Ayatollahs that have hijacked a very good nation of Persians and taken it down a route of weaponization, nuclear weaponization, a very dangerous one for the region and, if I may, for the entire world.
Well, that certainly doesn't justify the killing of this man, does it?
Again, I have no idea who did it. What I can say is why it may have happened and why it's important and vital to stop this ongoing effort, massive effort of nuclear weaponization. If the world wakes up one morning with Tehran having 2, 3, or 5 nuclear weapons, it's a terrible new world. It's a nightmare world for everyone, for the United States, for Russia, for everyone. It would mean that the entire region would start a nuclear arms race because no one else would want to be without that sort of weapon. It would mean that Iran, who currently is fomenting terror all around the region and the world, would be able to do so, but not regular terror, nuclear terror. This is something the world has to stop.
So you do think that the disruption of Iran's nuclear program was the goal of this attack? And what do you make of Tehran saying the program won't be suspended regardless?
Look, it's very clear that Tehran is keen and very systematic about progressing towards acquiring nuclear weapons. Fakhrizadeh wasn't just a ticking bomb, he was a ticking nuclear bomb. And the world, using economic pressure and policy and other dimensions, has to stop Iran from doing this. This is a regional interest. We see all the regional players who are opposing Iran's nuclear ambitions. It would just be a nightmare for everyone, and the world in its entirety has to stand up and stop this.
Well, critics would say that your country's denial of the assassination is hard to believe, especially given Benjamin Netanyahu had publicly warned to remember Fakhrizadeh's name.
You know, the one question I would ask is, if Fakhrizadeh was such a benign nuclear scientist, why did he walk around and run around Iran in a motorcade with security guards as if he's some ultra secret person? If you're just dealing with civilian nuclear capabilities, there's nothing to hide. Why was he hidden from the IAEA inspectors? What has Iran got to hide?
Iran's blamed all 5 murders of its nuclear scientists on Israel. Why would it blame your country for no reason?
You know, I don't know what their entire line of thought is. What I can see is what their actions are. These people, the Ayatollahs are like an octopus sending their tentacles all across the region. They want to create a regional hegemony. All right, they're looking back thousands of years. They want to be a hegemony over the entire region and turn it into a center of nuclear weapons that would create a weapons race that it took decades to do away with the United States USSR nuclear race. Now we'd have a new one, but in a very rogue area. This is something that no one in the world could want.
Do you think that this assassination is going to make it harder for President-elect Biden to operate in the region as Iran says it will?
No, quite the contrary. I'm sure that President Biden, who has said time and again that he would accept no nuclear weapons in Iran, I'm sure he would not want Iran to go nuclear with weapons on his term. And in that sense, I think we certainly support any policy that will stem Iran's nuclear weapon ambitions, including a new deal, a good deal that would actually stop it, not a bad deal that would allow it. And in that sense, I see no issue here.